All right, welcome back to the Know Your Numbers REI podcast. I'm your host, Chris McCormack, CPA, MBA, certified tax planner with Better Books Accounting. It is our goal to help you, the taxpayer, the business owner, the real estate investor, eliminate all of the frustration and anxiety and stress that you feel around taxes and accounting, the IRS, and everything else that comes up from a money standpoint. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 things to look for when hiring a CPA. It is December. We're just about to enter into a new year, and it is oftentimes that people are looking for a CPA. And to start, I do not advocate finding a CPA or searching for a CPA at the end of December. I advocate finding a CPA, honestly, in the middle of the year, or at any point. But when you want a CPA, you must know that it should be a CPA that's going to work with you around the year. And so these are the 5 things that you should look for when searching for a CPA. If you're hiring, we just opened up spots for our 2025 tax year. So preparing 2024 and planning for 2025, we'd love to sit down with you, see if it's a good fit, identify any mistakes or missed opportunities that are going on in your business, your investments. But if you don't find us to be the right fit, hopefully this list and these qualities will help you in your search. We'll start by talking about the number one thing, which is expertise, right? We want our CPAs to be experts. And so that starts with having a CPA, making sure that they're licensed, right? CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. In order to be a qualified CPA, you have to pass 4 exams. Not all of them are related to tax, but they're comprehensive and it is no easy task. So if somebody has the CPA behind their name, you can be sure that they know their stuff and they are quality. Now, they might say they're a CPA, but they might not be licensed as a CPA. This is actually a problem that has come up more times in recent history than it has in the past. I did an episode on the 12 things that the IRS is warning about, the dirty dozen, as they call it. One of those was false preparers who pose to be somebody, but actually don't have a license or any sort of expertise. And so to verify that your CPA is who they say they are, or that they're licensed as they say they are, be sure to search, if you feel inclined, on the state website, right? So I'm licensed with the state of Minnesota, their Board of Accountancy. So if somebody wanted to look up, they could just type in Minnesota Board of Accountancy, look up my last name, and they'd see my license number and that it's in good standing and I'm authorized to do work as a CPA. And so that's an option for anybody who claims to be a CPA. You should be able to look them up on their state Board of Accountancy. Now, understand that a CPA is not the only license you need to prepare taxes. There's also what's known as an enrolled agent designation. That's the next best thing, right? They don't require you to take the 150 credit hours as you do for a CPA, and you don't have to pass the same exam. The enrolled agent exam is specific to taxation, and it's much smaller than the CPA exam, but it's still, you have to get the license, you have to pass the exams in order to promote yourself as an enrolled agent. So CPA and EA, those are the 2 licenses that you should be looking for. There's other designations. People at H&R Block or TurboTax or some of these other pop-up tax preparing websites, they have designations, but they're by no means a license. I could go to a state and ask how to get a PTIN, which is like your preparer's number, and the quickest way will not require any sort of extra licensing. It won't require a very comprehensive exam. There's pretty easy ways that you can become a certified tax preparer, and I would stay away from those types of licenses. If you're looking for a tax planner, a certified tax accountant, if you will, the CPAs and the EAs will probably be the best fit for you. And then on top of that, there's additional designations that you can get. For example, I have what's known as a certified tax planning designation. It's offered by the American Institute of Certified Tax Planners. You can look them up. They're down in San Diego, and it basically assures you that not only do I have a CPA, not only do I have an MBA, but I have another designation that is not given out to everybody. There's less than 1,000 of us here in the States, and we take additional training, continuing education that is focused specifically on tax strategy and tax planning. And so what that does is that gives you the assurance that not only did I pass a CPA exam 5 years ago, but I'm staying up to date and I'm taking it a step further by getting additional designations that are specific to tax planning. And so that's how we find out about strategies and when the best time to implement a strategy is, right? Most recently, there was a tax law instilled by President Joe Biden and his cabinet, and there was a big part of the law that relates to renewable energy and credits related to the renewable energy. And to find out about that and get the proper training, we have summits and webinars and in-person training to really dive into the law, what it says, meet with other people that have an expertise in these specific areas so that we're equipped and we can communicate it to you, the client or the listener. So CPA or EA, and then if you can find a certified tax planner, certified tax coach, certified tax strategist. Those are the 3 designations from the American Institute of Certified Tax Planner. And you would also, regardless of who you find, whether they have that additional designation or not, you'd want to make sure that they're doing continuing education, and it's not just continuing education where they sit on a computer and click the mouse to get to the final quiz and then get the answers, right? You want to make sure that they're doing continuing education in your specific industry and in the business of tax planning. They're staying up to date on tax laws or what's going on in the world as it affects taxes, right? And I mean, the podcast, that's a great way to understand that we have an expertise that is unmatched out there, right? We have this podcast, we have our YouTubes, and it's just our way of bringing to light some of the things that are going on behind the scenes, because we know that you don't want to spend more time than necessary finding about new tax laws or what's going on in the tax world or what the president just proposed or what just passed in Congress. So we're here to communicate that to you, and I think you should find that with whoever you go forward with, that they're staying up to date, they're communicating the changes to you so that you're taken care of, you have what you need, and you're not paying more in taxes than you need. And then along with the expertise, so you have the CPA, further designations, and then just an industry specific expertise, right? We are real estate tax planners. Yes, we help small businesses and we have a large amount of expertise in the area of small business, but we are really focused on the real estate investor, the one who wants to use real estate to pay less in taxes. Now, if you went to, say, a doctor and you had a concern about your heart, will you go to a brain surgeon or neurosurgeon or neurologist? No, you'd go to somebody who is specific in the heart industry. Just as if you had a brain issue, you'd go to the neurologist over the general practitioner, right? So in areas, doctors, lawyers, physical therapists, chiropractors, like we go to people with specific expertise in a specific niche. And so why should it be any different for the accounting world? For some reason, we've just bundled all of these accountants up into one bubble and said, oh yeah, that's my CPA, whether we know he has a CPA or not. We say he's my CPA, he does my taxes, but he might not be a real estate specific CPA. He might not even be a CPA. He might have an EA or one of the lower designations. And so for you need to make sure that he has expertise from a professional standpoint, but he also has expertise from an industry standpoint. And he's willing to help you and has worked with clients like you so that you know that you're going to get the best advice that there is out there. Number 2, so we covered number 1 is expertise. It's pretty deep. Number 2 is relationship focused, right? One of the biggest concerns that we hear from prospects or new clients is that their former tax preparer or CPA or whoever it is just treated them as another number, right? They were a small fish in a big pond. They weren't focused on the relationship. They didn't know what was going on in their personal life. And it just leaves you with this icky feeling in your mouth. So to find somebody who's relationship focused, wants to get to know you, wants to understand, hey, what are your goals for your business? What are your goals for your family? What do you like to do in your personal life? Where do you want to travel? These things, so that they can come up with a certified tax plan, a tax plan that will serve you and your goals rather than just being a back of the napkin thing like write this off and file this tax and you're done, right? So you want to know that they're interested in you. What we do here at Better Books is I have an hour-long conversation with you and your spouse to find out what is really driving this conversation. Why did you decide to have a conversation with me today? What's your biggest challenge? How long have you been dealing this? What are some of the costs associated with this? What have you missed out on because you haven't done this? Now, once this is fixed, what are you going to want to do? What's your family life like? Are you guys expecting more kids? Are your kids out of the house? Do you want to involve your kids in the business? Are they going to college? Are they starting their own business? Are you guys traveling as a family? What are the things that make you tick and you want to do, so that I can have a clear picture for 1, whether we're a good fit, but also 2, once we decide that we're a good fit, what is this tax plan that we want to create? How are we going to make use of all of the pieces that fit together to make your life and make sure that you pay the lowest amount of tax possible? And I do that by making sure that we have a relationship with our clients. And it's not like that for all of the tax. It's very often you find these big tax firms that take on just about everyone, and the partners don't know the latest client that came in. And I want to avoid that at all costs. And we do that by not taking on everyone, right? And sometimes we have to say no to people that we think we might work well with. Sometimes we have to charge a higher price than our competitors, but we back it up by having a relationship with our clients and one that they can rely on. When they know that hard times come, they can reach out to us and make sure that things are taken care of. So number 3 is good listener and communicator, right? Taxes can be this never-ending abyss of just jargon and boring verbiage. So how do they communicate to you? Are they quoting the exact tax law and saying, this is why this is how it is? Or are they trying to put it into your own terms, right? Again, going back to the surgeon analogy, right? A good doctor is not just going to tell you that there's something messed up with your tibia or your fibula or your brain. They're going to tell you not only that, but what are the costs of not fixing it, right? What does it mean in practical terms? How long are you going to be on crutches? Are you going to be in a wheelchair? Do you need surgery? What are the effects of that surgery, right? So a good tax strategist, a good CPA should be able to communicate to you in clear terms what are the costs of not moving forward? What are the costs of moving forward in the direction that you're headed, or going forward with this strategy compared to that strategy? Like, yes, there are laws that we need to follow and the wording is good, but it should also be communicated to you in a manner that you can understand and can digest, rather than saying, yeah, we're going to do cost segregation and bonus depreciation and write everything off that we can. And right, like, obviously that's good, but I find that most people I come in contact with when they have heard about cost segregation do not fully understand what it means or the impact that it is. So you want to make sure that they're a good listener and a communicator, right? The communication point is putting it in words that you can understand and digest. The listener standpoint comes from the very beginning. Are they listening to you, or are they just trying to get you on and off the phone as quickly as possible? Do they know what your problems are? Do they actually want to hear and try to get to the root problem, the core of the issue, so that they can come with a solution? Or are they just going to say, hey, yeah, it's $1,000 for tax preparation. I'll see you in March. Gotta go. Right? You want to make sure that they can listen and they're hearing you out, because that is the way that you come up with a plan that is really focused on you and what you want, rather than just putting you in the never-ending cycle of somebody who we do their taxes for. Number 4, client testimonials, right? So in today's age, testimonials are huge, whether it's Google reviews, testimonials on their webpage, referrals, right? If you are being referred to them, there's probably a good chance that the person that referred you is a satisfied customer. We have testimonials on our webpage of clients that have enjoyed working with us. They came to us with a problem, we were able to solve it, and now they're on to bigger and better things, right? So testimonials are big. It helps us put a face to some of the other clients that they might have helped. It helps us hear more of somebody else's story and relate to somebody that they've been able to help. So client testimonials, you want to make sure that what they say they're going to do has actually been done in the past, and you do that by referencing some of the people that they've worked with. References and referrals are a great form of that. Again, if somebody is referring, it's usually because they're satisfied with the service or the product that is being provided. Number 5 is willing to sacrifice new business for the sake of clients' satisfaction. So this kind of goes hand in hand with a couple things that I've talked about, right? We have had to turn people away. We have had to shut our doors because we have just taken on, we limit the number of people that we take on every month or every year. And so, yeah, we might be able to make another extra $10, $20, $50,000 a year if we took on everybody, but it would result in client dissatisfaction, is a better way of putting it, which causes more problems and is an issue that you don't want to deal with. So, and this goes with the client testimonials. You should be able to find people that would advocate for their services rather than someone who's steering you away from their services. And that usually comes because they don't take on everybody and their mother, right? Again, going back to the point I made at the beginning, a lot of people come to our doors because they were treated like just another number. They were treated like one of the many fish that they were dealing with in their pool of clients, and they couldn't get a hold of anyone, and they got passed around from junior to junior, assistant to assistant, and that's not the way things should work in a well-run business, in a business that's focused on the client and the relationship at hand. And so for you looking for a new CPA, if they say that they take on 5,000 clients and you're never going to hear from the person that you were referred to, then that's probably a red flag to go somewhere else. Like, we will make clear, like, we don't work with everyone. We're limiting the number of people we're working with this month for tax planning especially. Like, if you're just coming for tax preparation, we're probably, it's not the service that we aim for and live off of. We would rather build a relationship with you throughout the year, and that comes in the form of tax planning. And that comes by saying no to certain people so that we can say yes to the people that we know we align with, that we want to grow with, that we want to serve and provide for. And I'll add in a few bonuses. I said 5 things, but I have a 6th on here, and then there's one that comes up as I'm talking. But you got to make sure they're legal, but they're not ultra conservative to the point that you bring everything to them and they're like, no, that won't work. Because tax strategy, tax planning is thinking outside of the box. It's saying, okay, the law says this, it references that. What can we do to bring the two together to make tax savings for our client? So you want to make sure that they're looking at the law and they're staying within the law, but they're thinking creatively about the law to bring to pass something that will serve you and result in tax savings for you, right? This is what cost segregation is, right? It's a way to accelerate depreciation early on so that you can pay lower amounts of tax in the beginning. And then they'll work with you to say, hey, we're running out of that amount of depreciation. I think you should buy another building so that we can get greater tax savings for the next year. So legal, but not ultra conservative. Because the other option is, yeah, we can do everything you say. We can write off watches and clothing and every meal, and you can write off your grocery bill and we'll just classify it as such. No, that's not legal. So you want to make sure it's like this order and chaos coming together to ride that fine line of tax savings, massive, massive, massive tax savings that come as a result of doing what is right, but also thinking creatively to come up with new solutions to save more in taxes, rather than just being driven by all tax savings all the time, even if it's not legal, versus all law all the time, even if there's a better way forward. And then the last piece is just make sure that they're tax planners, because there's been so many people that, again, have come through our doors thinking that they're going to get tax planning, and they end up just getting tax preparation or even just planning to pay taxes, right? If they're projecting taxes, if they're saying, yeah, you're going to owe $100,000 in taxes, we'll talk to you in January. Well, that's not tax planning, right? Planning to pay taxes is not planning around taxes. And so as somebody who's looking for a CPA, looking for somebody to build a relationship with, be sure that they actually plan to pay less in tax. They have strategies, they have testimonials, and they're relationship focused. They're listening to you, they're communicating clearly and concisely. Those are things that will help you. And if you can find that, man, you just struck gold. And so go forward with them and watch your dollars add up. And if you're in the market for a tax planner or a CPA and you're not sure where to look, come reach out to us at Better Books Accounting. We'd love to sit down with you, do a deep dive, identify any mistakes or missed opportunities, completely free of charge. I'll sit down with you for an hour and talk to you about what we find in your files. All right, until next time, God bless you and keep moving forward.